I don't have a head wife in this family.
Are you the head of the family?
No.
Kody, I was just sorry.
Stop.
It's pissing me off. They're looking to Robyn like for some kind of approval.
So now Kody's got no head wife in the family, huh? Really? Let's help him out by bringing some receipts. He used to have a head wife, the one who actually made sure the family was fed, taken care of, and didn't blow through every penny they had. You know, the wife who kept an eye on the budget, kept the peace, and was blindly loyal to Kody and the whole family. Too bad Kody couldn't recognize what he had, and, surprise, surprise, he lost it. And don't get me started on his bitterness. He's out here acting like none of them appreciated how lucky they were to have him. But hey, he's got a wife who's clearly more than happy to give him a head, probably with a really enthusiastic smile. Honestly, at this point, the only reason to watch this train wreck of a show is to see what new nonsense Kody will say next. Also, newsflash, there's no such thing as a head wife when you only have one wife and 3 ex-wives. Talk about gaslighting. Kody wants nothing to do with a husband/wife relationship with Meri and Christine, but somehow expects them to follow his every command as if they're still his wives. Meanwhile, he wants Janelle to be totally independent when it suits him, and then turn around and expect her to be subservient when it doesn't. And don't even get me started on the double standards. What's convenient for him today is inconvenient tomorrow. Side note, my only real gripe about Janelle's giant fifth wheel is that she needed the whole rig. Why not just get a Class C RV that she could drive and park anywhere? It would have been way more practical. Plus, I've heard those huge fifth wheels can suffer from frame flex, where the frame and RV literally come apart. Good luck with that. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Meri's story is honestly heartbreaking. I just watched the infamous ring melting episode from around 2010 when this show first started, and I'm seething. How could this coward of a man, Kody, not have had the guts over a decade ago to tell his wife, the one who, naively, still had some hope for reconciliation, that he wasn't in love with her? Instead, he dragged her along for years, pretending like everything was fine. Even after they moved to Flagstaff, he couldn't be bothered to put on his big boy pants and just be honest. Yes, I get it. Meri should have picked up on the signs. But have you ever been stuck in a relationship that dragged on way longer than it should have? I know I have. Leaving is hard when you're holding on to hope. But it's just painful to watch how he continues to treat and talk about her in these later episodes. Kody is just a coward, a horrible excuse for a human being. And then, get this, minutes after I post about how awful he's been, Kody says, Meri wants love in a specific kind of way, and I have a different kind of love for her. Oh really, Kody? You mean she wants actual love, and you have none to offer? Just stop being a coward and say what you really feel. He's such a small man, it's honestly pathetic. And I honestly think this is why Kody was so blindsided when Christine left. Meri was the one who set the stage for him to completely ignore her and still fund the family account. So he figured the other wives would just keep doing the same, using the kids as his excuse. He didn't expect anyone to actually stand up for themselves and leave him. When they did, he lost his mind. But hey, that's all on him. Robyn, of course, was right there, feeding him this delusion that everyone would just fall in line like Meri did. She was obsessed with keeping the whole polygamous family together, and Meri was the perfect placeholder to make that dream a reality. It was so messed up, and the way Robyn manipulated Meri, it was honestly disgusting. At least Kody was upfront about not caring for her. Let's not forget that Meri's self-worth was shot. In a culture where a woman's value is tied to how many children she has, Meri had one. And she was the first wife, so she had to watch as the others came in, built families, and succeeded, while she felt like she was failing. Meanwhile, Christine, coming from this celebrity polygamy family, had all her kids and was embraced as a mother figure for all the children. She felt supported, loved, and was fulfilling her duty as a wife. So when she started being treated poorly, she was like, wait a minute, this isn't right. Kody didn't ditch Miri sooner because he needed her to keep the whole polygamous family structure intact, and Robyn, of course, was desperate to keep her dream alive. Robyn's entire vision was about this big, happy, dysfunctional polygamy family. So she treated Miri terribly, keeping her around by dangling the kids in front of her to preserve the illusion. Robyn used Miri as a pawn, while Kody was just too self-absorbed to care. If Kody hadn't needed the money Miri contributed, he probably would have cut her off a lot sooner. He's just a user. And now that he's bled her dry financially, I'm sure he and Robyn will go their separate ways too. I married the wrong person. Now that's a classic Steven Crowder move, right? You know, the guy from that infamous Ring footage where he screamed, "I'm gonna **** you up at his wife," just because she didn't want to walk their giant dog while she was 8 months pregnant? Yeah, that guy. After his wife left him, he said something like, "I take full responsibility for the failure of our marriage. I chose wrong." Classic red pill, manosphere nonsense. Blame yourself if I don't love you. Oh, the audacity. It's probably part of that whole toxic mindset. But let's be real, it's not just a red pill thing. It's a straight-up narcissist thing. They're the masters of deflection. They never, ever think they've done anything wrong. Accountability? Nah, it's always the victim's fault in their world. So, apparently the homes in the cul-de-sac are now valued at nearly $1 million on Zillow. Sure, it's just an estimate, but hey, I couldn't help but wonder what they were worth back when Kody was pitching the whole move to Flagstaff plan. Remember how he kept going on and on about how their homes had the most equity? Flashback to when Christine's home, I think that's the one we're talking about, was listed for $675,000 back in July 2018, just before they pulled the trigger on that lovely relocation to Arizona. But surprise, surprise, it ended up sitting on the market for a year before they finally sold it for $535,000. Oh, and they bought it for $443,000. Not exactly the big cash out they were hoping for, huh? Here's the kicker though. Kody kept insisting that if they didn't move that year, it would have been another 5 years before they'd even have another graduation to look forward to. That would have been 2023 to 2024. So really, they were under this illusion that if they stuck it out, they'd be rolling in the equity and could have sold the place for a lot more. Well, guess what? If they'd waited those extra 5 years, their homes would have been worth a lot more now. And maybe they wouldn't have traumatized their kids with the whole Arizona move. Sure, let's ignore COVID, because who saw that coming? But think about it. If they stayed in Vegas, they probably would have stuck together as a family longer, or at least not had to deal with the disastrous separation until they realized nothing was ever going to happen on Coyote Pass. So yeah, Vegas would have been a much better option, but hey, what do I know? The kids actually thrived in Vegas, imagine that. Sure, things would have gone downhill eventually, but at least they'd have had the comfort of familiar surroundings and support systems. But instead, they got Arizona, and well, Robyn's house was filled with all the stuff. We saw how prepared she was on moving day, right? She seemed to expect everyone else to pack up her life for her. And now that Kody and Robyn have driven off all their worker bees, what are they going to do? You think Robyn's 3 older kids are going to step in and help? Yeah, right. Then there's the whole COVID question. What would that have looked like if they'd stayed in Vegas instead of going to Arizona? Maybe being in the cul-de-sac would have made it easier to stay connected, but let's be real. You'd still have people within the family fighting over lockdowns, social distancing, and all that fun stuff. So maybe staying in Vegas would have just created more tension. Can you picture it? Kody and Robyn holed up in her house on one side of the street, and Christine and her kids hanging out with Janelle and hers on the other, coming and going as they pleased. Poor Mary probably wouldn't have had to be as isolated either. But who knows? It's all a big what if. Christine's iconic question, what does the nanny do? It's been bouncing around in my brain ever since. And honestly, I still can't quite wrap my head around it. Why does Robyn need a nanny? Let's break it down. Robyn's got 3 teenagers living under the same roof. Robyn herself is there. Kody's there too. Robyn's got easy access to all the other moms. Oh, and she has access to the older kids from the OG family. So, what exactly is the nanny doing? I'm not the only one who feels like this whole nanny situation is a little off. It always rubbed me the wrong way that Robyn gets to live this luxury, while the other wives are hustling like crazy to support their families and the whole family as a unit. Anyone, please tell me, what's the nanny doing all day? It's pretty clear Robyn didn't trust the other wives or kids with her young ones, but she didn't seem all that interested in stepping in to parent either. Robyn's had a nanny for years, but the real issue that nobody's talking about is why the nanny was the only one allowed to come and go freely at the Hoarder Hacienda while other family members, siblings, weren't even allowed to pop by. Let's be real, Christine wasn't just asking about the nanny's role like it's some casual inquiry. She wanted to know why the nanny could be there when the rest of the family couldn't even get in. But of course, that quote always gets taken out of context. What Christine was actually asking was, what measures are in place to make sure it's safe for this nanny to come and go while no one else is allowed near their own siblings? It always seemed like the excuse for needing the nanny was that the adults were all working, which, let's be honest, usually meant filming or doing confessional interviews. COVID probably gave them a free pass to use the nanny even more, tutoring the kids, since online learning was more of a joke than an actual education. And don't forget, back during the cul-de-sac days, Robyn was already used to having Mendy around. They'd all been living separately in rentals before that, so it wasn't totally out of left field. I believe Robyn when she said she didn't want to bother the other wives by asking them for help with her kids, but honestly, it's like she got so used to being a single mom that she didn't realize being part of a plural family means you lean on all the other moms to raise the kids together. Instead, she just kept things separate, holding onto the benefits of a big happy family photo, but keeping her biological kids apart from the rest. Pretty telling, right? Anyone else find it too convenient that Robyn and Kody accidentally met at Robyn's cousin's place? And of course, Mary just happened to be there to make everything look legit? Yeah, right, I'm not buying it. Mary wanted to meet Kody, and she made sure it happened. Let's not forget she was living 5 hours away at the time. What are the odds she just happened to run into him like that? It all worked out a little too perfectly. Maybe one day, Mary will finally come clean about the whole thing. After all, the best way for someone who gives relationship advice for a living to start would be with a little honesty. But hey, that's just a thought. It's also interesting that Mary's been posting on social media like she's prepping for a book tour, responding to questions that someone, presumably her social media manager, is giving her. The Browns have never exactly been transparent, but I get it. If no one's really talking to her anyway, why not keep up the illusion? What's even crazier is the number of different versions we've heard about the first time Kody and Robyn met. Was it at church? Was it at Reba's? Was it at a dance? Or, wait, did Leon show up at that dance? The confusion is practically a comedy show at this point. And let's not forget, Kody was clearly on the hunt for a new wife before Robyn came into the picture. We all know the wives were aware of it, and 2/3 of them agreed to it. It's pretty clear Kody was sniffing around Robyn, using his existing wives to get what he wanted. The wives? Yeah, they had absolutely no say in the matter. When it comes to relationships in these cultures, the women don't get a choice in who the man picks as a wife. Kody was the one who chose Robyn. I'm sure it sounds a lot less creepy if they try to spin it like it was the wise idea, but let's be real, it wasn't. It's just another attempt to sugarcoat what really happened. Kody didn't bother to call Mykelti on her birthday. Now, this isn't surprising, especially considering Kody's infamous forgetfulness when it comes to his kids' special days. Remember the time he claimed he forgot Gabe's birthday because he was curled up in the fetal position, battling a near-death fever of 99 degrees. According to Robyn, though, this life-threatening condition didn't stop him from doing household chores and making sure the kids were taken care of. Ah yes, nothing says priorities like playing the martyr while still managing to function like a regular person. Now, Mykelti's birthday falls on June 9, and she pointed out that Kody used to be the one to make sure birthdays were remembered. But in the last few years, not so much. She even threw a little shade, reminding everyone that she's the one who has been putting in 3 times the effort to maintain a relationship with Kody and Robyn, and still not even a phone call on her birthday. At this point, it's clear Kody's just checked out. He can't even remember dates, but there are literally a million apps for that. And isn't it Robyn's job as stepmom to nudge Kody to remember his other kids? Spoiler, she doesn't care. Robyn's level of care for Kody's kids is about the same as her care for her own, which, let's be honest, isn't much. Let's not forget how Robyn used Mykelti when she was just 13, turning her into a live-in nanny, forcing her to take care of the kids, clean the house, and do online school. And now, what does she get for all that effort? Nada, not even a happy birthday. If there was anyone Robyn should have been nudging Kody to remember, it should have been Mykelti, the one who practically raised her kids for her. But at the end of the day, the only person Kody gives a damn about is Kody. Over the years, it's been painfully obvious that his kids are an afterthought, as long as his ego is fed. The sad part is, the only reason Kody even remembered his kids' birthdays was because their mothers were the ones reminding him. The moment those marriages ended, so did the reminders, and suddenly, Kody can't even bother to set a reminder on his phone. Honestly, Mykelti deserves better. Kody doesn't deserve any loyalty, respect, or consideration from his children. He's shown time and again how little he values them. He doesn't understand unconditional love, and it's clear that the moment Mykelti disagreed with him or sided with Christine, she was cut off. Just like Garrison and Gabriel, who dared to challenge him. They're not perfect little robots who live in his delusional world, so they get pushed aside. And frankly, Kody deserves to get ghosted by every single one of his kids. Oh, when did I finally realize I couldn't stand Robyn? Well, I was totally blind to it at first. I genuinely liked her for a long time, thought she was all sincere and sweet. But then came her pregnancy with Ariella, and everything changed. That's when I started to notice just how cranky and controlling she really was. Of course, I binge-listened to the whole series and missed all the little signs, the fake tears, the body language, the subtle manipulation. It's wild how this community has totally opened my eyes to the whole Robyn situation. Take that whole thing where she insisted her kids call their stepdad daddy. Right off the bat, you could feel something was off. But then, I rewatched the moment when she told her kids she was pregnant again, and it was like a light bulb went off. She was so hurt that the older kids weren't jumping for joy at the news of her pregnancy with Solomon. At this point, Miri has already bent over backward to accommodate her new marriage to Kody, and they're even adopting her 3 kids. But Robyn? She's upset because the older kids didn't share her excitement. Really, it was disgusting. My 13-year-old granddaughter watched that part and just said, "They're teenagers, what do you expect? It doesn't mean anything to them," and she's totally right. From that moment on, Robyn started pulling her kids away from the Browns. Sure, the separation was there before, but that was the turning point. And don't even get me started on the shady stuff. Remember when she was sneaking around kissing Kody while Christine was in labor? That was a red flag from the start. It was pretty obvious she never wanted to share him with the other wives. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.